amount of $7,500 for the migration of town emails to Outlook and the cost of licensing. I guess Outlook, right? But licensing, yes. So I'll give you the floor, Jeff, if you want to give us a,
Thank you, Madam Chair, thank you, members,
explanation.
for assembling this evening to review this reserve fund transfer. As Chair stated, we're seeking $7,500 to migrate our email system from a very outdated and suspect package that we've been using for many, many years. It served us well. It's called First Class. It's linked to our website provider, and they've developed this on their own, to Outlook. About $5,000 of that would be for migrating the email data to Outlook, and then the other $2,500 is for licensing for the users. First Class is suffering today because it's losing its support. Even the company that owns First Class doesn't use it as an email system. They've converted themselves to Outlook, focusing more on their website business than emails business. Over the past few months, we've had it where we couldn't send emails to Gmail accounts. We've had numerous phishing attacks, and the security of the systems become suspect. So we thought it best to migrate to a system that integrates with our Office environment, which is Outlook. It provides a better mobile feature than what we have with First Class, and it's a standard in the industry. You either go with Google email or you go with Outlook, and we've decided to go with Outlook.
questions? I know you have one.
Well, operating system platform for the town, is this like, are we based on Windows 10, or are we still back at Windows 7? Where are we, because Windows 7, Microsoft is running out of support for that. They're about ready to take everyone off of it. So if we're at Windows 10, I assume we're like at Office 2013, 2016?
2016,
So this is all gonna play well with each other?
yes.
Okay.
And we've gotten rid of all our XP machines and all those other things.
And so then, like I was saying prior to the meeting to you, it's why isn't this at the special town meeting, since it's only, a matter of weeks away?
Well, the board and at town meeting, a reserve fund was set aside for unforeseen expenses. This is an unforeseen expense. Perhaps migration should have been planned for, but it wasn't. And I think the number one reason for that was it was much more stable months ago, or when the budget was being put together. But since you've budgeted a reserve fund, it makes sense to access those funds during the budget year rather than ask the town meeting for additional funds on top of reserve funds they've already allocated.
Okay, you said that there's $2,500 here for licensing, but if we have Office, Outlook is part of Office licensing, so why do we have to pay an extra fee for something that comes normally as part of the Office package?
I don't think we bought the Office package with Outlook. You can buy it without it. Since we weren't using Outlook as an email package, we didn't spend the money for the Outlook licenses.
Okay. So then you would have, I'm just going to assume Word, Excel, and maybe PowerPoint?
Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Access.
Oh, and Access, okay. But that's like that's like the business package, so I would have thought Outlook would have come with that, okay? I mean,
Usually Office is an additional expense, or Outlook is an additional expense in Office. I can get those details for you.
I know I recently
We're not
looked
paying
at
for
that.
Outlook.
I'm surprised you have Access, but Word, Excel, and PowerPoint are a basic package you can get.
Right.
And then Outlook and Access come as an added cost or something, so.
So they're
Yeah.
add-on?
You get the
I don't
student
disagree
teacher
with what you're
version that
saying.
has the 3, then you can keep going.
Yeah.
Eventually, we're gonna move to
okay.
Office
I see how you do it.
365, which is a much more mobile environment and much more fluid environment. But right now, we're at Office 2016.
now, Office 365, though, comes with, like a lot of companies want you to go to licensing fees, because you have to do it every year instead of just buying it outright and getting support for an X amount of time.
And
So-
and these $2,500 licensing fees will repeat each year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the plan. We're gonna go 365, and then we're gonna just make part of the normal budget. We're gonna license it year in and year out. And how many seats do we get on that license?
I think 40-something users,
On the quote, it's 45.
35? Yeah,
45.
the police and the fire are already off first class.
And so, also, the police and fire have their own separate license?
One uses, I think, Google before it required you to pay licenses. So
Okay.
they're not paying anything, and I think the other one's is on Outlook already.
So this isn't one package
yeah.
for the entire town. We still have separate departments using separate things.
And over time, that will evolve out of that. Will evolve.
That's better there. I'd rather have one common
Oh,
platform for
absolutely.
everybody.
It's easier to maintain since we only have one IT person.
Yeah.
A follow-up question. I missed the first part of what you were responding to Kevin because I was reading this. Did you say we still have Windows 7 in some locations?
I don't believe so. He asked if we were using Windows 7. I don't believe so.
I thought we
I thought we went to Windows 10.
phased that out
Yeah.
a year or so ago, or at least in this year's budget.
Well,
I
there
don't
there
know
are
exactly, but
certain
Might be some,
organizations that still have Windows 7 in their umbrella that, you know, has cause
We may
for
have a few
concern.
machines here and there, but for the most part, we've been upgraded.
I have Windows 7 and I'm holding my breath, so it's a good idea to
Yeah.
get out of it as
Me
quickly as
too.
possible.
Gonna have to deal with it soon.
Yeah.
So if we have one of our system computers
Yeah,
that happens to, it's a lot more serious than my home computer.
right.
other questions?
Just one for you, I guess, is after the $7,500 expense, what's our reserve fund balance?
You would ask that. I think it's
130
still
to
pretty.
140?
Wasn't
I
him,
think
it was
it-
gonna be me.
I think it was pretty healthy. It was, I think it started at 134, I want to say.
Yeah, I asked Barbara that today. We'd still be over 130,000.
And we didn't, I mean, we've had several, but none of them were terribly big.
Okay.
And with this, we're changing the email system to Outlook. We're also changing the email addresses. Right now, it's,
Town.net.
Town.mass.us.
so we've acquired sturbridge.gov.
Okay.
Ah,
So our website now is Sturbridge, if you type in sturbridge.gov, you get the town website, and all the emails will now be
Oh.
jbridges@sturbridge.gov. We'll run both addresses over time,
Mhm.
but we'll go to sturbridge.gov.
Oh, that's great.
All right, that's good. And I just recommend that maybe you'd put that on the website, just so people who have favorites saved will know that over time, you're gonna transition here, and then their favorites aren't gonna work.
Once we start
Yeah.
the transition.
So I'll make a motion that the Finance Committee approve the transfer from the reserve fund to the Information Technology Purchase of Services Fund in the amount of $7,500 for the purpose of migrating the town's email system to Outlook and to pay the first year of licensing.
Seconds.
Any further discussion? All in favor? That's
Thank you.
7-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
0-0. Okay.
Anticipate any more?
And just,
So
so,
you never anticipated unforeseen expense?
just
I hope you don't, yeah, right, exactly.
when do you plan for this to begin and have it done?
I want it done by the end of January.
Oh, good, excellent.
Oh,
It
yeah, we
just
are
depends
almost halfway
on,
through the
you
year.
know, getting it done. The real critical path is, we can always buy the licenses for Outlook, we can always put those on the machines, but it's the migration of the data, providing those connections to make sure everything comes over clean.
Right.
That's really where the work is.
We don't have any meeting minutes because Joni is busy with
Puppies.
impending puppies, I guess. So any new business?
Can you clue us in on what the articles might be covering that are going to be at the special town meeting?
Yes, one of the reasons we've been pushing it back, and maybe, I don't know how you've done this in the past, but we were waiting for a price for the senior center study. So we just, on Wednesday night's agenda, or should have been Monday, but Wednesday, there's a proposal from the consultant to do the study. So we have that price, that'll be on town meeting. We have the, Habitat for Humanity, the construction of the unit. That'll be on town meeting. We have some zoning amendments, generally zoning amendments to do, and then maybe a couple other things, depending on what happens.
And refresh my memory on the senior center, is this looking at a new facility or rehabbing the current one? I know we had articles, I forget which one or both came about property off of Cedar Street.
So
Was one of those for the senior center?
The full study, you have one element that really takes a hard look at the existing building, mechanical, electrical, structural, do a full site survey. What can the existing building accommodate? Can it accommodate extra space? How many parking spaces do we need? What's the heating system, electrical system, so forth and so on? And gives us a turnkey price on if we wanted to renovate that and add the 5,000 square feet that the needs assessment calls for. So we get a number to renovate. Then we have two other parcels we've identified. One is the Shepherd parcel, which has its own set of constraints we understand. And then you have 70 Cedar Street, which is another parcel that has another set of constraints. And compare those three sites, which would be best to do, and give a turnkey price for each one. We hope during the study, the initial phase of the study, that just from a GIS point of view, we can eliminate one or two of the new sites, and then just do the full-blown study on one of those clean sites or undeveloped sites, and then go from there, and then compare a renovated building to this preferred site. But it includes utilities, furnishings. If we need to, there's pricing in the proposal for a full-blown site survey, which we may get into depending upon what we find, rather than just a GIS review.
And I forget, so 70, were we looking at the ability to use that for a senior center, or do we fund that for a recreation item and not include the senior center in that
Right
study,
now,
that parcel?
this study looks at it as a senior center. There is a desire to use it for recreation. That's why we came up with a third parcel to review. It may be a better fit than 70 Cedar. But that's the last instructions I got from the board. We need to really understand what can be done where, and what's the cost comparison between those alternatives.
You know, will the study also include the, for lack of a term, the traffic flow? Because some of those sites are a lot easier to get to than some of the other ones.
There's traffic analysis on each one of those three. And then there's an enhanced, if for another few $1,000s more, you can get a full-blown traffic study, which we'll probably need for the planning commission and site plan. So we may not do it now, we may do it later, but you get an initial traffic survey and traffic study with each of the three sites.
Okay, great.
Any other new business? Larry?
Jeff, have you got a date for the special town meeting?
We're proposing January 27th. The school has confirmed, the moderator has confirmed, the town clerk has confirmed. The board will vote on that date tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Great.
Any other new business? Old business?
Just since we're talking studies, how are we doing with the, wages, salary, job classification study and all?
Good, we've engaged with a consultant. We had a teleconference with the Personnel Committee last week to go over how this is going to function. The consultant has all the job descriptions, has the classification plan. She has sent me dates and times and duties through the process. We have a kickoff meeting with all the staff on Monday, the 8th, which will identify what everybody needs to do in terms of basically a job analysis for all these positions. Write down what you do every day. Then in January, we'll be interviewing each of these positions to make sure we understand the job duties as they relate to classification, right?
Can I just say, when you say "we" there, is that you and the committee or just the
consultant.
Okay.
Yeah. And they've identified cohort towns through a series of financial analysis, ability to pay, population, and graded each one on a scale of 1 to 15. So on that particular scale, if you got 15, you're listed as a comp. So we got about 12 comparables that get us down to a total of 11 points on this scale. I can give everybody a copy of the
That'd be
of the
great.
spreadsheet. Yeah.
I'd love to see that.
Yep. So I think we're off to a good start. We can get this done in time for any changes to be implemented in the budget. This group has worked in Massachusetts before. They understand the environment, they understand, the other towns. So
Excellent.
shouldn't be too bad.
But again, as you're comparing positions in those towns, you wouldn't say, let's look at the town administrator across those 12 towns and at least for salary comparisons, right? Because there's a difference between roles and responsibilities and a salary for managers versus town administrators versus executive assistants. If I turn to the planning group, there are towns that just have their planners doing planning and supporting the planning board. Some do planning and economic development. Some have building departments reporting to them, and some have conservation commissions, agents reporting to them. Each one of those, there's a core element of planning, but there are other roles and responsibilities that would impact what salary comparisons would be among those.
In longevity in the position.
Yeah, but I would hope that in their, when they put together their comparison towns, whether it's 10, 15, 12, that they would note the differences and say, okay, here's how they're alike and here's how they're different. And so,
Well, I think what you look at is you get the data back from these towns, and just like everything else, you kind of gonna look, there's gonna be outliers. If there's
Right.
one that's a planner, an economic development director, and the salary is kind of over the top, you have to understand why there's outliers and how they're related, or if they're even related to the same position we have. So I think that's a critical part of the process to make sure you've got a good median average of where these salary ranges should fall.
Anything else? Any other old business? Any public access? Why is there a motion to adjourn?
so moved.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yes,
Did you say the public?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes, I guess I'm here for that.
Yes, if you want to come up to the microphone. I guess we need that microphone.
Not really, but I will.
You could sit at the table and use one of those if you.
I will. Well, I don't, I can stand, it's fine.
Could you just give us your name?
Sure, I'm Colleen Berkium, representing Countryside Homes for my husband Randy Berkium.
Okay. And what are you here for?
To request, oh God, he told me, for a lot that he's building on, there was an issue with the, moving the driveway.
That's across the street.
That would
Oh,
probably
across the
be.
street? Oh, I'm
yes.
sorry. Oh, he told me to come here,
Yeah,
so that's why I'm here.
and they started at 6.
Uh-oh.
Okay, well, his is supposed to be at 6:45, so I go across the street?
Yes.
All right,
And it's
well,
probably second floor. All right.
Sorry.
that's okay.
Darn, we
Good
thought we
luck.
had a live one.
First, in a long
Wait,
time.
in a long time, yes.
There was a motion?
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Yeah,
Sorry.
absolutely.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Thank you.
If you want to stay for 90 seconds, I'll get you a copy of that spreadsheet.
Sure.
On the comps.
Thank you.